or type of lesson, if you will. And so here we go. Let's get her going. Do it. Share here. And
has the U.S. real estate market managed to navigate a soft landing? It sure looks like that to me. For several weeks in a row, inventory has been rising at a slower pace than we projected even a few weeks ago. In fact, we probably should revise lower our projection for where available inventory finishes 2022. The economy has been strong and unemployment is remarkably low. So even with a shrinking GDP, the American homeowner is in great shape. There's no panic selling. We saw some sellers rushing to list in May and June, anticipating that things might get worse. And I'm hearing from anecdotes from brokers around the country with stories about that. But that only means that those who rush to sell in May and June implies that inventory will grow less quickly this fall because they've already sold. These dynamics are what we're watching in this week's Altos Research Market Video. Every week, Altos Research tracks every home for sale in the country. We analyze all the pricing, all the supply and demand, all the changes in that data, and we make it available to you before you see it in the traditional channels. If you aren't using Altos market reports with your clients, your buyers and sellers right now, it might be a good time to step up. Go to altosresearch.com and book a free consult with our team because everybody is worried about what's happening right now. And they need you to help them see clearly. I'm Mike Simonson. I'm the CEO of Altos Research, and here's what we're looking at for the week of August 8th, 2022. Available inventory of homes for sale rose by less than 1% this week to 544,000 single-family houses unsold on the market. Inventory is rising, but rising less quickly than it did in the second quarter, and also actually less quickly than recent August of the last several years. So in June this year, inventory was rising 6 to 8% per week. In July, it was 3 to 4% per week. This week was less than 1% inventory gains. So this is a normal seasonal slowing. In a sense, it's not notable at all that inventory rises less now than in June and July. The reason, though, that why this slowing inventory growth is the headline now is because we kind of all expected inventory to just keep climbing or feared that inventory growth would accelerate. So in many of the hottest US housing markets, demand stopped abruptly in the second quarter. And you can understand why people would be afraid of a market crash in those conditions. But man, it sure doesn't appear that that's happening. What you can see here now is that we have 32% more homes on the market now than we did last year at this time. We still have fewer homes on the market now than we did in August of 2020 and 40% fewer homes than 2019. In most of the country, we still have a shortage of homes available for buyers. And it seems remarkable to say that given how the year has gone, but that's where we are. What's hard to see in this chart is the change in the slope at the far right side. It sure looks to me like we've turned the corner for the season. But if we look at the same data in this year-over-year format, we can see that the last few weeks, how the slope has changed. This is a simple forecast model for inventory for each week for the rest of the year. The solid dark line here, dark red line here, is this year so far. The dotted line then plays out each week for the rest of the year. And you can see we're still allowing for some weekly jumps next week and the rest of August. But if we don't see those jumps, then we're going to have to revise downward the yearly forecast. The bottom line here is that inventory is not growing particularly quickly anymore. We'll probably end the year with about 535,000 single family homes on the market. I shared this 535,000 number a few weeks ago, and a lot of really smart people told me it was too low. But now suddenly it kind of looks too high, maybe. So we'll see what next week brings us. By the way, this week we have our August webinar on Thursday, August 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific. In it, we'll spend more time on this surprising change in the inventory trend and what to expect for the rest of the year. If you have buyers and sellers who are trying to figure out and navigate this market this fall, you should join us. One thing to note, which we'll get an opportunity to spend time on, is how many local markets are behaving differently. We'll check on some of those markets, some of the really hot ones. We'll see if they look better or worse than the national average right now. If you're having these conversations with your clients, click the registration link in the description below. Join us this Thursday, August 11th, 10 a.m. Pacific, for the hour-long webinar. We dive into all the data. So you can see the slowdown in the inventory growth in our immediate sales tracker. Note the sharp drop in new listings and in the immediate sales volume after the 4th of July holiday this year. You can see at the far left, the last few bars in the far left or far right side of the chart here. I pointed out that the immediate sales are the defining characteristic of the pandemic housing boom. But since that 4th of July holiday, you can see this abrupt drop in new listings and the drop in those that go into contract immediately. So demand, you can see the demand slowing, but you can also see the supply pulling back. So the dark part of each bar here are the listings that stay on the market more than a few days. That's normally what new listings look like. The light part are the part that go into contract essentially immediately. Only 16,000 of those this week. And you can see how they dropped very, very abruptly as we rolled into July and now August. Meanwhile, home prices are holding firm. That's another sign that the market may be navigating a soft landing. The median price of single-family homes in the U.S. is just under $450,000 this week. That's roughly where it's been for a month. The price of the new listings is down to $399,900 this week, and that decreases, looks like mostly seasonal action. See the light red line here. Each year, the new listings price moves back in the late summer and fall, which we see right now. Percentage-wise, the price of new listings has not retreated that much. It's not unusual. And you can see that we're well past the insanity of the beginning of the year where the light red line was spiking so quickly each week. So this implies that while the most egregiously overpriced homes, those are not selling, and we're not seeing those sellers try to time the market that way. But in general, sellers and buyers are finding equilibrium in most parts of the country right now. It looks like we're seeing a slowdown in the growth of price reductions too. So more homes are cutting their price each week. The time to sell a home is climbing, of course, from record low time to climbing back to normal. And so price reductions always climb as the days on market climb, and they climb this time of year. Price reductions always climb in the third and fourth quarter before settling back. So as the market shifted, many sellers were surprised and had to cut their asking prices very quickly. And so we had this big, steep increase in price reductions from the record lows to the highest number in years. And I expect that by September, the rate of price reductions will have leveled off now. So that's the dark red line here. That's this year. And we'll have 40-something% of homes on the market with price reductions by September. That's a lot compared to recent years, but it's not frighteningly high. And if this dark red line were still going vertical each week, that would be alarming. But it looks like it's starting to slow down just a bit. So we're currently at almost 38% of the market has had a price cut. Next week, we'll see 39, then 40%. So sometime in October, we'll probably hit that peak before resetting for the holidays. But it doesn't look like it's going to 50%, for example. So that tells us that if you're a buyer right now, you have more options than you did at the start of the year, but the current signs don't show the market changing dramatically from here. Mortgage rates have fallen off their highs. Employment is super high. People who want to buy are buying. This seems very much like a soft landing to me. It'd be a real surprise if the market pulls it off. So we'll take the full hour on Thursday to discuss these trends and much more. There's a link to register for that webinar in the description below, the August webinar. Click that to join us. As always, though, if you need to have these conversations with your buyers and sellers right now, you should go to altosresearch.com and sign up to get the data in your hands and in their hands today. Local data for every zip code in the country. The market is changing much more quickly than most buyers and sellers can keep up. It's changing more quickly than I can keep up, frankly. So they need you to be their voice of expertise right now. Join us at altosresearch.com. Okay, that's all the data we have time for this week.
Stopping the share. Okay, pretty good news this week, to be honest with you. What we heard Michael say was inventory gain has plateaued, rates rising has plateaued, home prices are holding firm, at least at this point. Price reductions are about 38% nationally of listed inventory that are trending upward. Buyers have more options. You know, I think people at this point, from a consumer standpoint, understand about a buy down and how to get their payment lower. But all in all, pretty good data points to be able to share with your clients or with your potential leads. Any feedback on the market of what you guys are seeing out there out of the 20 or so folks on the line? Not so much. Okay. Well, what I want to share next is, where do we go? Here we go. Upcoming events. And so what we have happening August 18th next week is at PCAR, Brent's bringing in some stellar speakers to the Get Results event. And you know, those of you who've been following know that we do a major event for EXP each month here. This one's going to be at Placer County Association of Realtors. So go to brentgove.com and register for this event. Also, there's plenty of room left for the Build conference, which will be week after next in Dallas. If you'd still like to go with that, go to that. Please give me a shout out and let me know. We'll find you a ticket and a hotel room. But you know, if you go to brentgove.com, click on upcoming events and go to local events, you'll see the events for the rest of the year here. And so this is great addition to your calendar. Okay, so today's topic, last week, do you remember what we talked about? Anybody? Okay, not everybody at once. We talked about the buyer consultation, didn't we? Say yes, Sean, we talked about the buyer consultation. Great. Okay, so what do you think we're going to talk about this week? Seller consultation. Because if your consultations and the verbiage that you're using and what you're sharing, the data and the stories with your clients haven't changed, what we want to share with you is that it's time. It's time to update those binders, change the information, switch it up a little bit. People are expecting a little bit more analysis, a little bit more data from you right now. And they're expecting you to guide them through a changing market. And so today, I thought it would be good to chat a little bit about the listing consultation. And I know, what was our topic supposed to be today?
Business boot camp.
Business boot camp. So we've been having boot camp for 12 weeks, which I want to circle back around and say congratulations to those folks who stuck it out for 12 weeks on our Monday 9 to 11 meetings. The goal by fall is for me to coordinate with the other EXP leaders and some lending leaders in town and offer that class up for a year-long content for everybody, anybody or everybody who wants to show up on Monday morning and get their routine for the week started. So that's my goal. Then we'll have, what would that include? That would include our Monday meeting from 9 to 11. It would include this meeting on Wednesdays, and then all the content that EXP Cloud has as far as the university programs, and then also our monthly meetings. So plenty of opportunity for you to grow, and also for folks who you want to invite to these events to have that opportunity to show up. Okay, so here we go. Today's topic is 21 tools to crush the listing consultation or appointment. We'll send these slides out next, but today's information is going to be compartmentalized into these 3 topics: attraction ideas, conceptual listing tools for you, and then 21 actionable listing appointment techniques to help you to be able to convert. Okay, so our goal here is attraction, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago in regards to attracting agents into our business. But think about it this way, a global question: how are you attracting people into your business? In today's changing real estate sales environment, what we've heard in the past of being prospecting or marketing, it's no longer good enough. And so what does that mean? It means we have to be attracting people into our business, which looks like this: not only prospecting, which is outbound one-on-one relationship building, it's going and killing that animal so you can eat. It's marketing. Marketing, in my opinion, is hoping. It's outbound touches to the marketplace and hoping somebody reaches back out to you. But think about it this way: how are you influential over your database currently? How are you influential over your LinkedIn connections or your Facebook connections? This is your value to the marketplace and your ability to solve the problems that they may have. Persuasion, these are your sales skills and objection handling skills. Media, this is the content that you're exposing to your vast database. Your content and narrative, which equal your credibility, and your data and analysis, which also equal your credibility. These 7 topics are attraction tools, if you will, equal people being attracted to you. People saying, "Hey, Nicolette, hey, Fernando, hey, Alex, I want to do business with you. I see what you're doing out there in the market environment. You're trustworthy. The content is good. You're helping me solve a problem, and I'm interested in transacting or doing business with you." Okay, so think about it. Think about it that way. As far as the rest of 2022 or 2023 goes, how are you doing in each one of these 7 attraction pools, if you will? And you can sit there and rate each one of them if you'd like, and I'd love you to do so, because it gives you it gives you a syllabus, if you will, for growth. Okay, all right. So we're going to move on here. Next, the previous things we talked about are ideas that can be implemented by you, by your sales team, by your assistants, or your virtual assistants. But the goal of this conversation is how many listings will you take in the next 5 months? Okay, and here's tool number 1: understanding the growth model. For those of you who are new, these all are examples of touches that your business may be pushing out to the world: direct mail, database emails, referral sites, social media, open houses, geographic farms, expired listings, etc. All of those are pulled into this sales funnel and will need to be nurtured to the point where we get appointments. Well, what's important to know is that if you looked at your database right now, which we know 97% of agents don't have databases. So if you're that person on the call right now, it's time, okay? But what we know is 10% of people in your database are ready currently or considering a real estate transaction. So, and Chrissy and I had this conversation yesterday, didn't we? We're not touching our database enough. If you think it's enough, it's not enough, okay? So this needs to be something that you're reaching out to them, like twice a week at this point right now. Not only giving them value with information that can be delivered through Altos research, through the topics that we talk about, but also just the spirit of connection. Mark's on the call. Mark and I were having this conversation last night. What is it that separates you from your competition? Typically, it's the care of the relationship. What does that mean, Sean? Well, the care of the relationship means this: if you cared enough about me to call me on a routine basis, to give a gift, to invite me to something, whether that's a mixer or a some kind of a building event, that care and that personal touch, that those conversations equal more than, hey, I want to save 15% by calling up Geico, right? So if we were insurance agents, how would we prevent our clients, our lead pool, from transacting with other people? It's a one-on-one relationship. That's what people need these days. On Monday, we talked about the reason that social media is so powerful. And you think about Facebook. How much have you paid to be on Facebook lately? The answer is nothing. Why? Well, Facebook has advertisements and they have connections and many other things, but what is it that keeps you going back to Facebook? It's the dopamine. Every time somebody likes something or comments on something, it's the dopamine that triggers your brain. Think about that in a relationship-based manner. If you're not providing some kind of a happy dopamine experience to your clients, there's a chance that they're going to go elsewhere. So just keep that in mind. But what I want to leave this slide stating is that 10% of the people in your database are considering a real estate transaction right now. Number two, got to understand the topic of working lead pillars. If you're sitting there and you're going, well, I don't know where my next deal is coming from, then you need to have a conversation with self. And that is, dear self, what are the 3 pillars that I'm currently working that's bringing me business? And that's great. You work through those to build another 3 and another 3 and another 3. Because here's what we know. We know that people who have 1 to 3 pillars of business, meaning I routinely prospect open houses and my database and expired listings, have an okay business. An okay business is closing less than 1 deal a month. 4 to 6 pillars is a good business. 7 to 9 pillars, great. 9 to 12 is an empire. You can continue to scale and add pillars to your business. The goal of you right now, those of you who are on the call who are in startup, is to get your 1 to 3 pillars filled out. For you medium agents, it's to continue to add, and for those of you who are team builders, to get to a dozen pillars that are continuously firing for you and netting people who will go into your sales funnel. Number 3, immediate listing attraction results. These are actual database results from Tom Ferry. So over a 4-week period, this specific agent sent out 181 text messages. They got 144 responses. 44 of those people raised their hand and were connections. Out of those, 38 CMAs were created. 12 sellers were thinking about selling over 1 to 2 years. 3 listings were taken. 2 of those need to buy, which is 5 deals. 4 clients were referred and 2 clients got pre-approved to buy investment properties. So you guys have this wonderful free tool that's available to you. It's called KV Core. And some of you may not be using it, but my suggestion is you get your ass into KV Core for a couple of hours next week. If your calendar is not inundated with buyer and seller appointments, and get these text messages or emails sent out, because these results will carry over depending upon your size of your database. But for those of you who are new, your goal right now is to work up to get 500 people into your database. Here's the texting script. Text everyone in your database over the next 4 weeks. And how do you do this? Well, you copy and paste the same message, you change their name, and you send it out. And you put some kind of a script. I haven't connected with you this year. Would you like a CMA? Or what do you need to know about the market? How's things go? Did you change your job? Let's go have lunch. All of the above. Number 5. So that's number 4. Number 5, leverage your qualified buyers to attract sellers. What does that look like? hand addressed, hand stamped, non-branded, auto weird envelope, and follow up with a call. We have 16 pre-qualified buyers who are ready to transact. You can send your testimonials in there. You could send a note to there. So what does this mean, Sean? Well, if you have buyers who are wanting to buy in Whitney Ranch, why not put something like this together and go around and drop it off? Something different than a flyer, something that says, I have somebody who wants to transact right now. That will help you to attract potential sellers. Okay, so here's what we know. These 5 things that we've just talked about are the basics of current attraction activities. Anybody here, no, Alana's on here, but what did we talk about on Monday? I'll share with you because some of you weren't there at the meeting. What we talked about are, we're going to give you all this information today, but what are the 3 reasons that you don't take action? This is a very conceptual counseling conversation. What are the 3 reasons you're not taking action right now? Think about those. What are the 3 reasons you do take action in life or in business? And what's the theme of your life? What I want to share with you today is I'm going to give you a lot of content, a lot of information. It's your decision. It's who you are. It's the theme of you that decides if you put it in action or not. So if you're not doing text messages right now for lead generation, and this is 2021 environment when we wrote these slides, but now we're 2023, you're falling behind. This is the way people communicate today. This is the ease of communication. So you must, it's not a, you should think about doing it. If you're not batch texting people from a net-based hope, meaning I'm texting everybody hoping to net them in, you're missing out. You've got to leverage these pools of buyers, these pools of categories within your database to provide an influence and value proposition for yourself. Okay, so case studies versus sold cards. Many of you may be sending postcards out in a very old marketing way. By the way, if you're not, you should go to bookstores, download audiobooks about what marketing looks like today, because it's changed so vastly over the past 3 or 4, 5 years, and now month over month almost. But what I'm sharing with you here is case studies versus sold cards. Just sold. What does that really mean? Okay, here's what I'd like to see you put out. Explain to the consumers what you did. Tell the story. Use these stories in your listing presentation. Provide before and after stories about the clients. Because why? When you say just sold, the client doesn't really know what happened over the previous 4 weeks that you had the property fixed up, that you staged it, that we had professional photography, that we had videos done. It's your job to tell that story. It's your job to tell them how many offers over how many days with what results, and to provide a call to action and to video this story for repetition of evidence of success. Okay. This is what it could look like. How did we do prep and marketing over 4 weeks? We sold with 6 offers in 5 days, and it tells a story of what you did as their agent. It's no longer good enough just to say sold at X price above listing in 4 days. Okay, everybody's putting those postcards out. Tell the story. Number 8, share with what your numbers mean to them. And this is a list price versus sales price scenario, but what's the value proposition of listing with you? Are you going to save them money? Are you going to make them more money? How did you do that? What skills do you possess that help them navigate to get more money? Tell your story in regards to numbers. A lot of people out there, I see it. I just saw the realist, or the Realty Times, or Real Trends is what I was looking for. Real Trends came out with, I'm the number 5 agent in the country. What does that mean to the agent. That's not a good story to tell because you're not, as far as attraction is concerned, uh, almost telling a story like that repels, or, pushes people away instead of enveloping and bringing them in. So that you're the ex agent in Placer County, what does that really mean to people? That you're the best agent in Whitney Oaks or Wood Creek, what does that really mean to people? Ultimately, it means these things, that you share with them the language of real estate, how much they made more with you versus the competition, how much they saved. We need to be creating a narrative around that, how your team provided a level of customer service or how you did. This is the new ammunition to help bring people into your business. So what we talk about here is with these new sales skills that it's time to level up and attract more listings. You can also, for if you're farming the neighborhood and you've just sold a house in Los Lagos, have your client, you write a letter for your from your client and send it to the neighbors. This is a great endorsement of you and your services. Again, attracting people in. Number 10, at what price would you consider selling your home? This is a great question. This can be put out via social media, via Geographic Farm, via your postcards. You can have a landing page associated with this, but at what price do you become, basically what you're saying is, at what price do you become a seller, and can I get in front of you in a short-term period, and potentially get a power listing? Wayne and I were talking about this morning. We now are combating iBuyers. So what would it look like if I went in and said, I know you want to sell with Open Door or OfferPads or whatever, but what would it look like if I could net you 10% more over a 3-week period? I'll give you some professional photos and services. Let's get it on the market, and I'll sign a 3-week or 30-day listing agreement with you. Okay. Ultimately, the question is, at what price would you consider selling your home? Number 11 is investment properties. Y'all need to add this as a pillar right now. There are 138 million homes in the United States. 15% of them are investment properties. Your actions are to pull the list of non-owner occupieds, add these to your database, and continuously send them mailers, find their email addresses. What I've found is, to be quite honest, in regards to taking action, that the non-owner occupieds who live outside of California are apt to be the first to sell. So get in relationship with them through non-owner occupancy. Why? Renters have rising rents. Prices have gone up. Yes. Home rental restrictions increased. Yes. Eviction moratoriums. Yes. We saw those through COVID. Increased legalities of owning. Yes. With the market so hot, and keep in mind, we're still in a seller's market. It's easier to sell occupied properties currently. As we delve into potentially a neutral or a buyer's market, these properties become less and less desirable if they're on a long-term lease. Capital gains, are they going to increase? We all know taxes are going to increase. So what you can help them with is explain these ideas, if you will, and they can 1031 into a different marketplace. Okay, so, and no fear and add value. Here's an example of what you can put out to those non-owner occupants. I hope this finds you and yours doing great. I've been searching for homes for my clients. They have details. They want to live in this community. I saw your address. We assist tenants in finding new places, and of course, in participating in 1031 exchanges. Would you be interested in selling? Pretty easy. Number 12, many of you aren't making your calls. And for those of you who aren't cold callers, dude, do the pop buys. But you have to see people on a routine basis every day, and your schedule needs to be full if you want to be successful. What does this look like? This is the basics of listing attraction. These are the basics of touches that maneuver through the sales world and through your business. Some of you don't know what to say. Anything you say on the call is good. have an intelligent conversation. It doesn't even have to be about the market, but ultimately we got to get our calls made every day. 5 a day is my suggestion. Mail postcards to your previous clients. And this could be something as simple as a CMA. You could drop them off. If you go back and you look, if you're struggling to get business right now, you go back in your past clients, drop off comparative market analysis to your past clients. Talk about supply and demand. Do you wish 5 years ago, if you would have bought 3 homes, would you have equity in them? Yes. In 5 years, are you going to have equity in them? Yes. Okay. It's always a good time to buy, isn't it? It's not necessarily a good time to sell, but these are the conversations that you should be having to attract folks into your business. Leverage express offers, leverage an iBuyer platform. You are a partner with Zillow. You are a partner with OfferPad. You are a partner with Opendoor. You are a preferred agent with some of them. That's the conversations that you need to have so that when you're sitting down at these listing appointments and they go, well, we really, we want a quick sell, or, well, we're discussing our options. Great. I want you to know that if you're considering an iBuyer and you need to sell within the next week, I'm a partner with these companies. Don't fight them, guys. When Opendoor just had an FCC fine of $65 million, I saw a bunch of agents post online, oh, Opendoor. What that means is I haven't had a value proposition enough to reach out to you, but I'm going to kill the competition. That's bullshit. In reality, you should be partnering with these companies to serve your client. It has nothing to do about you. So leverage these iBuyer programs. Okay, let's take a breath. Add brilliant. These are the brilliant basics that will help generate business for you. Those are 14 great topics that will help you. Now we're going to move into the listing tools. Got 20 minutes to go, so we're going to move quick. Ask yourself, how many listing appointments have you been on in the last week, and is that enough? Secondarily, ask yourself, what is the standard for your listing appointment, and what are your expectations? The standard is, hey, every listing appointment is the same, and I maneuver through the same script, the same flow, the same agenda, and the expectation is it better damn well be that you get that listing appointment. If you are sitting right there, if you're out there right now and you go, well, I don't know what my 3 closing lines are, I'm going to tell you this, WTF. Why not? These are things that you need to be practicing and thinking in your mind at all times, because there's no better skill to have. There's no more important skill to have than being a great listing agent and being able to overcome objections. So 3 questions on this slide is this. Did you have enough listing appointments last week? If not, why not? Because you're not prospecting enough. What's the standard for your listing appointment? And what are the expectations? I just covered this, but the expectation is a strong belief that something is going to happen. It better well be that you take that listing. And if you're scared of closing on somebody, what does that say about you? It says that I haven't skilled up enough to deserve this listing appointment. Okay, so in 2023, as the market shifts, and 2024, those answers aren't good enough anymore. Some of us need a slap in the face and to say things are changing out there. So we need to skill up our closing skills. We need to skill up our scripting skills and our agenda and the way we follow up. Now is the time when I want that light bulb to go off into your head. Okay. Tool number 1, appointment accountability. And this just says, if this week you didn't have enough buyer or seller appointments or to meet your goals, or you didn't have any, it means this. Guys, you're not sending enough touches into the world, enough emails, enough calls, enough open houses, enough pop buys. If you didn't get those appointments, this is the conversation you have with yourself as far as accountability at the end of each week. Did I or didn't I? From a coaching perspective, if I asked you, did you have enough listing appointments last week? And you say no, then I'm going to go right back here and I'm going to say, well, that's because you didn't do enough actions or activities. And what we've been chatting about over these past months is what? those activities need to quadruple for you to be prepared for the shift. Expert behavior. Here's what I know about experts. They don't think they know. Oh, Nisha, I think that. No, here's what I know about your property. Here's what I know about valuations. Here's what I know about what's happening with the market right now. That's good tonality, dialect, and assuming the close. Experts speak professionally and they back it up with evidence that they've researched. Experts prepare and ask for the business. What we know about salespeople is that 80% of the agents only ask for the close one time. It's no longer acceptable for you to go to a listing appointment or a buyer appointment and not specifically ask if that client wants to do business with you. If you're the agent out there right now, and I know I'm talking to some of you who go, I'm just going to leave it up to chance. If they like me, that's cool. If they don't like me, that's great. You know what that's like? That's like being a lion or a tiger or a lioness and you're hungry and food's right in front of you and you don't grab that food. I need you guys to go out there and grab the food. Okay? Experts know their numbers. They know their comparables. Experts have go-to phrases. Nicolette, how do I win with you? Alana, what would make this appointment a 10? Experts. And also, for those of you who are scared of failure, here's what we know as experts. Failure is an educational process. We learn from it. It gets us motivated to be better, to be more successful. And what we know is that people who fail faster than their competition ultimately win at a higher level. Experts train like they're running a 5K race when they really are running a 1K race. That means train harder than what your goals look like. We talk about expert analysis and overcoming objections. And experts know that the number one skill that they possess is securing the listing. Experts know how to ask great questions. Experts know it's not about them, but it's about the client. Tool number 3, we're going to keep going because we got like 15 minutes left and I got 7 or 18 more tools to go through. Here's what we know. The concept is this. Your business starts with relationships. It's the people around you who want to be in business with you, who know, like, and love you. Your business will begin to grow when you set routine appointments to get face-to-face with people, and your business will explode when you begin to navigate the process of writing contracts and closing on people. So those are the concepts, right? Appointment bridge, knowing expert behavior, and understanding that your business is going to grow with the amount of people that you know. Let's maneuver into 21 actionable appointment techniques. Here we go. Number 1. Oh, sorry. The goal of this conversation is for your client to select you, your team, or your company to market and negotiate on their behalf. Also, to select the identified market price that you've delivered. Also, to suggest exposing the property to the market in the suggested fashion that you give them, the condition. And to get your desired professional fee or commission based. That's the goal of each listing appointment, isn't it? You want to do business with me. You want to transact at the price that I've selected. We need to do X, Y, and Z to get the property on the market. And I want a full boat commission. Okay. That's the goal of each listing appointment. Before we get there, I'm going to make some assumptions. Before you get there, you should know the who, what, when, why, and how much. Do your homework on these clients, do your homework on the comps. You're treating this listing presentation like a math problem and an equation that you put together that you're solving and you're coming with solutions. You're gearing this presentation towards your client's specific demographic and what you know about them as far as their personality. And then we move into number 1. So at each listing appointment, when you start the conversation, it should sound something like this. Who do we got here? Agent Alana. When I sit down with new or previous clients, I like to share with them what's happening nationally, statewide, regionally, and locally. Can we spend some time together talking about the market? You guys got to get really good at asking questions, because questions make the other party feel like they're in control when really you're driving the conversation. Can we spend some time talking about the real estate market? Great. Here's what's happening with rates, and here's what we see with loan programs and supply and demand and list price versus reductions and properties falling out of the market and trends and what's next. And here's where we see the market going. You're going to solidify yourself as the market expert because you understand the market. You can use Altos Research to do that. You can use potentially CMAs. You can use national news or mortgage news or Realty Times. But the goal there is to walk away at this first number one junction for them to say, wow, this guy or gal really knows what they're talking about. Number two, we've got to jettison some words and add some new verbiage to our conversations. Here's what we know. You're a salesperson and you're in one of as a person or as a business owner, what we know about folks in general is they don't have any previous sales training. Close your eyes really quickly and think, what's the last sales training that you really took? Some of you may have something, but I would suggest, I would bet money that the majority of you haven't really worked on your sales skills in a while. So what we know about words is the wrong words can strike fear, can stop deals, can create emotions. So what we need to gear up on is our glamour words that separate you from your competition, that ease fears. We're jettisoning the negative words. We're jettisoning the desire really to talk about ourselves. And we're there to close deals without fear producing, without having our clients have some fear pop up based on the words that we're using. So we're going to commit not to saying fear words. And here's what they look like. Price. Price, your subconscious goes to shopping for a better deal. Okay. So instead of using the word price, we're going to talk about total investment. Instead of using the word down payment, we're going to talk about your initial investment. Instead of using the word contract, we're going to talk about paperwork. Instead of using the word sign on the dotted line, we're going to use endorse, authorize, or approve. Do you see how these words create a little bit more ease and less tension than price, down payment, contract, or are you ready to sign on the dotted? Are you ready to sign the contract? It's very much boxing them in. So price, down payment, contract, and sign, and buy. We're not going to buy anything. We're going to own something. Sell. We're going to help. Instead of saying, I helped your client or I helped a neighbor sell something. What do we think of when we get sold? It means somebody got us. Somebody skewered us. So instead of using the word sell, we're going to say, we help them acquire. We've got them involved in this community. Next, objections. It's the area of concern. Deal. Instead of it being a deal, never use the word deal, right, Chrissy?
Right.
No deal. We use the opportunity to transact. Because why? If you looked in your past and you said you picked the last 10 times you got a deal, how many times did those deals end up burning you? Or how good was that product? So most of the time, it's not very good. We don't want a deal. We want an opportunity. Sorry. 9, problem. When you call somebody and you say, we have a problem, that creates negative energy, lets people's minds wander into other problems. Instead, we call it a challenge. We've helped so many other people overcome this challenge. So ask yourself internally, where does your current verbiage come from, or what do you say? Your current vocabulary is based on your upbringing, based on where you came from, based on your previous job. What we have to do is we have to take that base level and we have to raise it up. We have to level up, we have to skill up, and we have to change our vocabulary, understanding where we came from, what our family looks like, what our education was, what our past mistakes look like, and understand that language helps sell, helps transact, and either creates fear or creates a positive emotion. Cheaper. Instead of cheaper, it's more economical. A product is more economical than that of the competition. You should be very focused on the words that you use throughout a transaction. Become an optimist and leave the negative language behind. Okay, I'm just going to move on from there because we've got like 8 minutes left. We're not going to make it, so we're going to finish the rest next week. We'll cut off at 12. If you're going to a listing appointment, you need a coming soon video. And this can be either professional, it can be organic on the iPad or iPhone, or it can be a combination of both. But this is something that you do in the driveway before and after, and you're sharing with people. Hey, I'm here at this listing appointment. Do you think I'm going to get it? Or do you think I'm not going to get it? What price am I going to get it at? How do you think this is going to go? People want to see you in action. So do the video at your coming soon. And then maybe the client goes, what the hell were you doing out front? You go, oh, hey, here's the deal. I've got 4,000 people on Facebook. I've got 8,000 people on Instagram. I got 6,000 people on LinkedIn. As soon as I hit this, it's going to hit 20,000 people. Is that important to you? Yeah, that's important to me. Great, then do it. You have to be different in today's environment than your competition. What separates you? It's that dopamine. It's that charisma. Okay, everybody's going to give postcards. Everybody's going to give professional photos and a flyer and a video and have social media presence. So what is it that separates you? It's things like these that we're talking about. Ultimately, there's a website called Springs, and you can go on and create a little video, download it, and it will present a card for your client that you can show up with a gift for them. Okay. Number 4, build an avatar for marketing. What is an avatar, guys? It's not that blue, big, 8-foot, fish looking thing from the movies. An avatar, really, when you break it down, is somebody who's going to buy that property. So when I sit down before a listing appointment, I go, who's my buyer? Is it somebody in the military? Is it somebody retired? Is it a first-time home buyer? Is it somebody who wants to flip? Is it an investor? Who is the buyer for that? Create the avatar around the marketing and share that with the client. Share the detail with the sellers, bring them a marketing strategy and say, hey, who else do we have? Hey, Wayne, here's who's going to buy your house. I'm pretty confident that, a first-time home buyer or somebody moving from the Bay Area, whoever it is, that becomes part of your value proposition. Number 5, be on time and bring your swag. Okay. If you got the listing appointment at 2 p.m., you got to be there at 1:45. You take some deep breaths, you prepare mentally, you come in there with your swag, your car is washed, you got your jewelry on, you look good, because the way you look equals your confidence. If you're going to a $3 million listing appointment, buy a new outfit, buy a new shirt, buy a new shoes, whatever you need to be able to invest in yourself to get that listing appointment. If you go on $1 million listing, that's a $25,000 hit at 2.5%. What are you investing in to get that listing? But swag means by arriving early, by taking some deep breaths, by coming prepared. What it means is I'm not desperate, and you can have an elegant and calm conversation with your client. That's the goal of swag. Next, know your value proposition. So here's what we know. We all have access to the same data. Your clients probably have access before you get there. They know how many deals you've done. They know what Zillow says the property is worth. They've done some valuation. So why is it, if I ask this question rhetorically, Mark Peak, why should I hire you? Why should I list with you? You got to come back and understand who you are in the environment. And if it's for some of you new agents, it may not be you, it may be the company, and it may be the team that you need to pass up the confidence in. And this is why we chatted 2 weeks ago about the third-party validation. So we all have access to the same data. Position yourself to respond based on what the client is looking for. We're the best negotiator, and that equals X to you. We're the best closers, and that equals X to you. You understand, in today's environment, marketing doesn't mean shit. What does that mean? It means days on market have quadrupled. So we're all using the same photographer. We're all using the same videographer. We're all entering it into the MLS. That's going to get exposed to whether you list with me or you list with Nicolette, we're going to have the same exposure numbers, aren't we? Yeah. Same amount of people are going to look at it on Zillow. Same amount of people are going to look at it in the MLS. So what is it that becomes our value proposition? That's what you need to share with them. We're closers. We understand how to negotiate the contract. We understand how to communicate with people. We understand how to direct people and lead other people in the environment of transacting, appraisers, lenders. Many lenders right now, by the way, they're so out of whack that they're not even locking interest rates in on the day that the contract comes in. That's your job to do that. If I told you, Nicolette, I'm picking on you because you're like right here in front of me. Or if I said, Rich, the last listing that you put in, how long did it take him to lock the rate? We should know those answers, guys.
We were locked before we got even in.
And when does it expire? And et cetera, et cetera. That's the value
It is.
proposition that people are looking for. So we have premier vendors. We are transparent with our customer service. We're providing Tuesday update calls. And I'm available anytime that you call me right here. You get the direct line to the doctor right here. Okay. That's part of your value proposition. We'll do one more and then we'll wrap up for the day at number 7. Presenting several price strategies. It's no longer good enough to walk in with just a CMA. Your client has all these valuation numbers. They've talked to their neighbors. They've talked to their family members who tell them, their property is worth X, Y, or Z. Here's what we know. We have to go in with tax assessed value, comparative market analysis, realist comparables, Zillow, Trulia. We have to bring those in, and a cost income approach of what the property could rent for versus what that would equate to as a rate of return. We got to know the average sales price versus list price. And it looks like this. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, your house is worth X amount. If we list at this amount, then we can anticipate your house selling for Y within Z days on market. That's where you go in at. And just to piggyback off of this, we talk about the listing language, which is square footage, lot, property type, Zillow, Trulia, open source, anticipated days on market, repair price, list price, estimated, and sales price, and market statistics, and list price, price decreases versus price increases, and relisted and current unit inventory. These are conversations that we must have based on empirical evidence. This is from Sam Carr. So that we get to many different methods of valuation and ultimately can give them a data sheet. And my suggestion is, just like we call this the Thomas Jefferson close, that when you're sitting down and you're going through this with them, that you get their buy off by filling it out with them instead of having it pre-filled out. So that if I was sitting with Patty, I would say, Patty, what, based on these comps, and you've circled or you've highlighted, your desired price, what do you think the substitution value is? Okay, let's fill that out. Okay, Patty, what do you think the MLS price per square foot is and the medium tax data is? And what have you seen on Zillow? So you're getting their buy-in on this so that ultimately you can deliver them a list price and a sales price that both works for you and works for them. It's a win-win. This is called a Thomas Jefferson or Ben Franklin close. Okay, we are. We're at noon. Are these helpful? Are these good? Okay. I love you guys. It's 12:01. Go and use them. Okay. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Sean.
Okay.
Bye, thank you, Sean.
Bye, guys.